Early risers throughout North America were treated to this, a rare so-called blood moon this morning, at least those lucky enough to have a cloudless sky. The blood moon, named for the color it takes on as it passes through Earth's shadow.
Well, a rare solar eclipse put on a dramatic show for much of the country Thursday. This stunning video captured a partial eclipse. That's when the moon blocks part of the sun. It's the third eclipse we've seen in the U.S. this year. The first two were lunar.
Another deadly police shooting is rekindling racial anger in Missouri. In St. Louis, demonstrators faced riot police in a second night of protest over the death of an 18-year-old Bondrett Myers.
Across the country, an annual pumpkin festival of all things brought out police in riot gear this weekend. They found themselves dealing with violent clashes that broke out in Keene, New Hampshire.
Riot police fired pepper spray into unruly crowds of young people after violence erupted just off the Keene State College campus in New Hampshire, starting Saturday afternoon and lingering well into pre-dawn hours this morning. Authorities say both students and non-students from around the region drove the disturbances, raucous house parties that spilled onto city streets, overshadowing the town's annual pumpkin festival taking place nearby.
We're all seniors, so this was our last pumpkin fest, and the past 4 years have never been like this. It's never, ever, ever been this chaotic.
Ebola case here in New York. Late today, word of a new and mandatory quarantine now for any high-risk passenger.
New Jersey and New York now overriding the CDC, enforcing a mandatory quarantine for any individual who had direct contact with someone infected.
A lot of people panicking around here now since it's coming closer to home.
If you come into those airports and you're high risk, meaning you took care of a patient with Ebola, 21-day mandatory quarantine.
What I've directed the CDC to do is that as soon as somebody is diagnosed with Ebola, we want a rapid response team, a SWAT team, essentially from the CDC, to be on the ground as quickly as possible, hopefully within 24 hours.
Quite a surprise for AT&T UVerse customers this morning when an emergency alert appeared, taking control of their televisions. Problem is, there was no emergency.
Imagine the panic this caused for thousands of UVerse customers. There you are catching up on morning TV when an emergency alert comes across the screen saying a special message is on the way from the White House. Here's a look at some of the photos we received into our newsroom. Once the message appeared, many of the UVerse units automatically changed the channel and would not allow customers access to other channels. Now, in an actual emergency, it can only be activated by the White House for a national emergency. UVerse has not told us what caused the issue.
It was a simple act of patriotism. A hardware store employee in Florida placing flags on the front lawn in honor of soldiers who have served our country. So why'd the city tell him to take them down? So when the city comes and asks you to take it down, how did you feel and why did they do it?
Well, they said that they had a complaint. I bought the flags so that I could put them out there, and it just reminded me of my family. I only get back to Pittsburgh every 2 times a year, and I wanted to just have something close by to see, to be with me.
A Korean War veteran and his wife say they will continue to fly their American flag and MIA flag outside their Greenfield home, despite what their homeowners association wants. Those that represent the homeowners association at Fieldstone subdivision say the flagpole violates the covenants and restrictions in the neighborhood. They've agreed to let Robert and Judy Willits keep their flag as long as they pay $500 to cover legal fees. The Willits say they won't remove it and they won't pay the fees.
That flag represents their freedom, number one. Without that flag and the people who fought for it, they wouldn't have freedom.
An Oklahoma man is blaming the devil for making him crash his car into a controversial monument.
The Ten Commandments monument on the grounds of the state capitol.
29-year-old Michael Reed Jr. was telling special agents that voices in his head and Satan told him to smash into the monument here at the north steps of the Capitol. Now those that helped erect the monument are left in disbelief.
That completely blows my mind that they're so scared of a statue that they got to come and tear it down.
Michael Sanford voluntarily helped set the foundation where the over 7-foot-tall monument once stood. Now that same plot is flat. The monument itself in 4 pieces.
This is alarming that anyone would get this close to the Capitol and would be able to knock down a historical monument just 10 feet away from the Capitol building itself.
Who would build a statue to Satan? Well, turns out a group of atheists wants to do exactly that.
Just a day after Canada raised its terror threat level, a terrifying scene unfolded in its capital today. Police say that a Canadian-born gunman identified as a convert to Islam, Michael Abdul Zahaf Bebo, opened fire in the Parliament building in Ottawa.
The halls of Parliament exploded with gunfire after security forces spotted the suspected shooter.
Moments later, witnesses reported seeing other armed men on nearby streets dressed in black with white bandanas.
Get against the wall right now.
A shopping center, schools, and the U.S. Embassy were put on lockdown as heavily armed police swarmed into the streets.
How many people we got in here?
They searched door to door and checked cars leaving the area. For more than a week now, Canada has been on a heightened state of alert, concerned about just this kind of attack. 2 days ago, a man drove a car at 2 soldiers near Montreal.
Some of Bebo's personal friends have begun speaking to the press in Canada. They said that Bebo believed that the devil was chasing him.
It has happened again. Another man has jumped the White House fence. Only this time he was captured before getting into the residence.
Shortly after 7 p.m., the Secret Service says a man jumped the Pennsylvania Avenue fence of the White House. Secret Service dogs were released on the intruder, and video shows him kicking and punching them.
Now to that scary scene on the streets here in New York. A man with a hatchet attacking police officers, badly injuring 2 of them. One is in critical condition.
Coming on the heels of the 2 attacks on uniformed soldiers in Canada, this bizarre incident in New York City is being investigated as possible terrorism. The dramatic surveillance video shows the 32-year-old man charging with a hatchet in both hands as he prepares to strike.
Unprovoked and not speaking a word, the male then swung at one of the officers with the hatchet, striking his right arm. After striking that officer, the suspect continued swinging the hatchet, striking a second officer in the head.
2 other police officers opened fire, killing the attacker, but also hitting a female bystander.
We begin tonight with the horror playing out near Seattle, Washington, the school shooting, and now we've learned the suspect, a popular high school football player, allegedly opening fire in the cafeteria. Tonight, that all too familiar view from above, students evacuating, sprinting to safety.
Is that information of a possible shooting at the high school in the cafeteria?
Early morning, the first call comes into 911 from someone inside the school. Students with their hands up could be seen running out of Marysville Pilchuck High. Police with guns drawn sweeping inside and checking locked doors. Minutes later, the shooter is reported dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Deadly 30-mile crime spree through Northern California. 2 sheriff's deputies have been killed, another wounded, and a motorist is fighting for his life, all triggering a massive manhunt for a pair of Bonnie and Clyde suspects.
A Northern California community under siege.
The shooting rampage continued over the next 6 hours. Authorities say the 2 carjacked a red Ford pickup and drove 30 miles north, where they were approached by Davis and another officer. Marquez opened fire again.
It's being called a creepy craze in California. Mysterious clowns popping up across the state and terrorizing people.
Now it appears this peculiar phenomenon has made its way here to Jacksonville.
It's a scene straight from a horror movie, but it's right here in Jacksonville. Now the mysterious behavior seems to be spreading.
It was very weird.
Doug Vanderlin's security camera recorded this scene out front of his Market Street home.
I guess some people are afraid of clowns. I wouldn't say I am, but if you're afraid of clowns, it would be alarming.
And now, my worst nightmare. A growing mystery in California. People dressed up as clowns have been popping up outside landmarks in a small city near Bakersfield. The picture's very creepy. Look at that. From copycats from a local photography project, but now police are growing concerned because there have been at least 16 reports of clowns holding weapons in recent days, guns and machetes, people.